we had been talking about the movement for a while, for a year or so since it started, and I think it was the death of Sandra Bland in Texas that sort of put us over the edge and said, we need to do something, and put up a sign in September. About 3 weeks in, we got a complaint from the zoning commissioner in town, John Minty, saying that a neighbor had hired a lawyer, and the neighbor wanted to be anonymous, but had hired a lawyer to notify the town that we were in violation of a zoning bylaw, that we had put the sign in between the fence and the sidewalk, which was part of the public right-of-way, and that there were bylaws saying that people could only post political or ideological signs for no more than 2 weeks in the public right-of-way. We was told that we had to either move the sign back so that it was rested fully on our property, which would be behind the fence and less visible on the street, or we'd be in violation and they'd confiscate our sign. So we did move it back, and then I wrote I sort of had a lot of feelings about it, and I live in a mixed race family. My husband's white, I'm Asian, my daughter is African American, my son's Latino, and so the sign sort of meant a lot. And there was a lot of media attention after I wrote a letter to my neighbor, just expressing some of my thoughts and feelings and asking some questions of his motives, and it was a really great response, and so what happened was one of the churches in town, a couple of churches put up signs and did some sermons and whatnot, but one of the churches in town, First Parish down in the center of town, actually invited us to come speak with their congregation, and we did. And as a result, they ended up ordering about 200 signs, and they went out into the community pretty quickly, and so now there's a couple of dozen in our neighborhood alone, and my kids walk to school 1 block, and they pass about 12 signs on the way to and from school every day. So it's been a really positive outcome. It's been really exciting to hear that the conversations are still happening, and that there's actually movement in this fairly homogenous white town, on the surface very liberal-minded, and then there's this sort of very conservative aspect just under the surface. If white communities are not talking about it, things aren't going to get better. I think that's the issue. I think it's people who have the privilege and the power in society, which when we're talking about race is the white population. If they aren't willing to make changes and help everyone have access to the opportunities that they have, then things will not change.